The Marble League. After what has already felt like an eternity, it is time to see the teams take to the events yet again. We're already halfway through the season, so it's time to talk about 16 teams, some of which will be my first time talking about, so let's get started. Okay, did you seriously have to qualify again, Balls Chaos? I cringed when I saw you qualify, and you spent 3/4 of the first half in dead last. To add some clarity to what I just said, the Balls of Chaos literally copied and pasted Mellow Yellow's first 4 events over 5 years ago, 6 points in 4 events. But then you decided to stop sleeping around and actually go and get a gold medal in Pentagay. This puts an end to a gold year drought of over 6 years since the last event of 2019, which has leapfrogged you out of the bottom 4 and into 12. And do you know what's more hilarious? You scored nearly double the amount of points in the last 2 events than you did in the first 6 events. I still don't have any confidence in them, so we'll have to wait and see what happens in the second half. Alright, what is it with these teams getting a 3rd place once before doing nothing afterwards? The Blackjacks, who are by the way my second favourite team, started off with a 5th place in the first event. Yeah, they haven't done nothing noticeable since. Dropping out of the top 10 after having a 3rd overall is not a good sign for someone who I root for. Please make improvements, because I do not want to see this bronze medal defense be terrible. After a terrible silver medal defense, the Bumblebees are ready for redemption, but instead we have another mediocre first half from them. No medals, no finishes higher than 4th, and looking at the standings, that ain't gonna cut it. You need to cross 3 double-digit point totals in order to get back into the top 5. You might remain in the bottom half for a long time unless you can actually put the pedal to the metal. Ducks, you realize the Marble League is happening, right? Can you wake up? Or does Bombay need to wake you up? The Ducks have not done much really at all for Greg to mention them. Not to mention you picking Ducky yet again to run Funnel Endurance, which should have been Mallard to run that event. You are currently the highest out of all the teams with no medals, so you better get going, because otherwise your fans as well as your team in general will be quacking under the pressure, and I am not sorry about it. 3,222 days. The Kobalts finally did the impossible, qualifying for the Marble League for the first time in their history. Yes, a 9-year history. And to be honest, they're not doing too bad at all, as they've got 2 silvers and 2 6th place finishes that has landed you in 8th place. This has earned you a lot of fans, and I hope that you keep that consistency going and get your first ever gold as well. Although, as we've said many times before, consistency never lasts forever. And as we've seen from the first half, they do have a goose egg and 2 15th place finishes, so let's just hope that it doesn't get the better of them and that they stay consistent for the rest of the season. Okay, why did the Limers need to qualify? Because we all know what was gonna happen with them. I was not surprised to see them in dead last yet again. And to those who are Limers fans who will hate me for roasting the team, I'm sorry, it's way too easy for me. Let me put some numbers in front of you. The Limers haven't had a single top 5 finish, only 2 top half finishes, which aren't higher than 7th, which was literally the last event. And at this rate, they need a bronze medal to move up 1 spot. However, some consolation is that they have had their highest start to the Marble League ever this year, starting in 9th. And that has gone on to be only your 3rd top 10 finish. I won't be surprised to see them do even worse in the second half and potentially break the Balls of Chaos anti-record. That would be so funny. Following a miss out on qualifying last year, Mellow Yellow is back and ready to make some noise. After starting in 11th place, they would go on to score 23 points in the next 2 events, which would bring them up to 6th overall. Apparently not interested in keeping up their performance, they fell back to 10th. Then somehow in the last 3 events, they went from 0 to 100 and scored 62 points in 3 events, being 2 golds and a 4th place. As a result, this has ballooned you up to 2nd place. Mellow Yellow at this point are going for a 2nd title, or they could just fall back to 10th again. I wouldn't expect them to do that though at this point, but we'll see what happens. After more than 5 years of failure after failure after failure, The Wisps finally got rid of Coach Wispy, as well as Waspy, Waspy, and Waspy. So let's say hello to your new team members, Twyla, Eve, Amaya, and Evane as the new reserve. Wispy will be captain again, and Waspy will be the coach. And to be honest, this was the right decision for the Wisps, and got their fans hyped yet again. And it shows, 102 points in 8 events. Only 2 events that were outside the top 10, and Eve is clearly living up to the name with a gold in the hurdles. But here's a fun fact. Prior to the Midnight Wisps taking the lead after Rodeo, we haven't seen them leading the standings for 2,640 days. This shows how much of a wise decision this was. Hopefully they don't screw up in the second half, but it will probably happen because who was going to forget 2020? So this is a very interesting pattern. Savage Speeders win the first 2 events of 2019. Team Galactic win the first 2 events of 2022. And now the Oceanics win the first 2 events of 2025. So in that case, we probably won't see that happen again until potentially 2028. Anyways, your season has been really fun to watch. Despite a goose egg and 3 other bottom half finishes, you haven't left the top 3 this entire season so far. Ounce, your reserve, managed to get your first funnel endurance medal since 2017, and your captain C is living up to their name with a silver in the 5-meter sprint. Getting rid of Aqua and Bay has proven to be very wise, but that leaves us with one question. How long will the Oceanics stay consistent? My guess is probably 1 year. But wait, look who's right behind you! That's right, you heard me. The Orangers are finally consistent again after 5 years of mediocrity. They start off the league with a bronze in Swing Wave and a silver in Funnel Endurance, and then they just disappeared for 5 straight events with no top 5 finishes. This dropped you from 2nd to 6th. Then thanks to your new reserve, Tarako, they cemented a good finish in Triathlon, and then in Bocce, the teamwork got them a 5th place, and that has brought you back up to 4th, really close to the Oceanics. It's only an 11-point gap. Whatever the case, the Rangers will be looking forward to another Marble League title. Let's just hope they don't collapse in the second half, as it has been like that for years up to this point. After a great showdown performance last year, the Pinkies are ready for redemption. They just barely made the cut in qualifiers and have used it to have a first half that should have been predictable. A 6th to start the season, followed by 5 straight bottom half finishes of 16th, 11th, 9th, 15th, 10th. What are you doing? It seems to me that you were only doing good in team events, where Rodeo saw you capture 4th place, Swing Wave of course 6th, and Bocce saw you got a bronze, which has lifted you up only 1 spot, which still does not matter. And what better way to add some hilarity to this team than to just continuously shame them? The Best Bonk Award! We had a couple of good bonks from the first half, such as Sublime getting hit straight into the hole by Evane, Quasar off the back of Momo, and Anarchy getting launched out of Swing Wave. Don't worry, they are definitely fine. But Pinky Toe wins the Best Bonk Award in the Triathlon. They came out of the gate and Pinky Toe careened towards the left wall and crashed right into it. Then straight after, they shoot to the right and up over the wall and DNF'd. It may not be a good ending, but it's the winner of the Best Bonk Award. Congratulations, Pinkies. We eagerly await your maze performance. With an average 2024 finish, the Raspberry Racers, my favorite team, are back yet again to prove the doubters wrong. And that's what I thought at least. We start off with an okay 24 points in the first 3 events to put us into 9th. And then the Razzies decide to impress me even further with 2 golds in a row to propel us up to 3rd. I was so excited at how this had turned out, and then you fall off a cliff and score 6 points in the last 3 events. Please stop screwing up, Razzies. I know we can get back to that 2019 success if we can just keep getting medals and not rolling down the standings. So please don't screw up in the second half. Also, you and the Speeders are the only 2 teams left that have never missed a main league. Please don't end the streak for me. Speaking of the Speeders, I just want to not talk about them for once, but I can't because they are still relevant. And speaking of that, why did you have to choose Rapidly to run 3 out of so far 4 individual events? Here are great examples. Rapidly got 12th in the hurdles. rapidly got 14th in the sprint, and rapidly got 2nd in the triathlon. What? Oh yeah, I forgot. Rapidly is always good in the triathlon, and I'm sure their fans are not surprised. But I don't support this team because fun's always cancelled. Following a fantastic Winter League, the Snowballs are ready for 2025. And they are still living up to their name and are sitting in 6th in the standings with a silver and a bronze. Yeah, those medals came from your captain, Snowy. They are once again carrying the team while Snowstorm and Snowfall have done nothing to help Snowy. Is this going to be a similarity to 2023 when Snowy carried the entire team while the other members did nothing? I really hope that is not the case. Let me tell you something, Team Galactic. Those 2 bronze medals from the 2nd and 3rd events are 83% of your points, as outside of those you have a 6th followed by combined 13 points from 2 12ths, a 13th and 2 14ths. This first half could just be a fluke, but we all know the consequences of being bad. Hopefully you do great in the second half though. Finally, after all of this talking, I can finally talk about last year's champions, Team Momo. Everyone, including me, was so excited to see what you could bring us this year. And what we got instead so far has been the worst title defense I have ever seen in my life of watching JMR. You don't believe me? Look at their performance from Bocce. That has dropped you down to 15th, just in front of the Lyman's, foreshadowing these side-by-side photos from 7.5 years apart. All I can say is that at this point, you put things together in the second half and actually compete for once. Let me know when you actually do it. And that is the first half of Marble League 2025. I just want to start off by saying that it has taken me a couple days to finish this video, so by the time you all are watching this, Event 9 has already come out. Yes, I'm playing a clip from Event 9 as proof. Also, I want to say this video is inspired by a madman, so I will be crediting him in the description for this. Anyways, thank you for watching, see you for the second half, and as always, hashtag Raspberry Robust.
Might have expended too much too early. How about the Kobalts? That is their first main Marble League medal since 2016. Who's counting, but that was exactly 3,250 days ago.